It was a difficult decision, but there was no choice. We had to leave this place as soon as possible. The girl hastily collected all her things she needed to run away from here as fast as she could. Her life depends on these actions now, only she can change her destiny. How she doesn't want to die, she still has her whole life ahead of her. For herself, she is capable of doing a lot, just to remain safe and sound. Memories of the past haunt her. This scarf constantly reminded her of the best. They promised to come for her. This sweet young man will not allow anything to happen to the lady. Emily had a faithful knight who always came to her aid, and with him she felt safe. Many years have passed since their last meeting. They would definitely not recognize each other now. This guy was what the girl needed, but it was not the time to dwell on the past. It was time for her to leave. She almost did it, but the uninvited guest stopped her. Emily was already awaiting her end. She failed to escape from the Emperor, who was her end. This is the person she definitely didn't expect to see. She's not in such a bad position. The guy kept his promise. He showed up here when he was needed most. Emily saw no escape, but she was no longer alone. In such a difficult situation, her happiness knew no bounds. The promise given to her was fulfilled many years later, and she was not forgotten. 7 years ago, nothing foreshadowed trouble. It was an ordinary day until a strange book caught my eye. It seemed that there was no such copy in the family library. I shouldn't have opened it, but my interest was stronger than my mind. His Majesty did what he wanted, no matter how terrible it looked from the outside. Everyone was shocked by his attitude towards the Empress. This should not have happened to her. Everyone turned against Emily for her misdeed. No one can hide behind their title. There is punishment for that. The girl could do nothing about these accusations. She had to just come to terms with the situation. His Majesty did not think for long. He got rid of one girl and immediately began searching for a new companion. What she saw defies logical explanation in the book she read about herself, about her future, which she definitely did not deserve. It's hard to believe that she will die at the hands of the Emperor himself. She did nothing wrong. It's as if she lived through it all, and this fact frightens her even more. Emily had a hard time thinking after this. Perhaps it was an omen of death. There must be an explanation for this stupid joke. Someone really wanted to make fun of the girl. All that was left for her to do was ask her father about the book. Deep in her thoughts, she did not notice the maid. It was clear from just one look that something was gnawing at Emily from the inside. The girl saw the maid as a way out of the situation. She could prove that this was not the ravings of a madman. In one breath, Emily told the story of the book, the kind of magic everyone should know about. What she saw did not leave the girl alone. She wanted to find support in at least someone. Unfortunately for her, only she saw everything written. The maid would have been happy to help, but everything was hidden from her in the book. At that moment, the girl's world collapsed. It was not a joke. All this was happening only to her. No one would help her. After what happened, Emily did not put down the book. She studied it, which allowed her to discover her oddities. For some unknown reason, only she could see the contents. None of the staff could understand what she was talking about. The strange thing is that there is no information about this book. It is not even clear how it ended up here. It begins to seem like she just materialized out of thin air just so the girl would notice her. Periodically, the book begins to shine, after which text with new details appears in it. And no one sees this radiance from the outside. The girl doesn't look her best. The main thing is that rumors about her mental state don't start spreading. This story had its own characters. The main one here was Emily herself. Her story describes her accession to the throne. Some parts of the story were skipped, and not all the characters had been introduced yet. Only a girl is allowed to see the future in 2 ways. With words and with eyes. There are no more chosen ones in this house, and perhaps on the entire planet. Everything she read did not inspire enthusiasm according to these words. Emily was not in for the most wonderful years of her life. She has never been to the capital, so there is no point in annoying the Emperor so much that she would have to be removed. The girl is not stupid enough to believe in something like this. It is beyond her dignity. But ignoring such a warning sign is also not possible. It is unknown what might come of it. But there is not a single thought in my head about what can be done about this. Pretending that it didn't happen won't work. The girl was pulled out of her thoughts by the light that once again surrounded the book. New details of the story awaited her. Another character has appeared. The girl has some company here. Any change scared Emily. She hadn't yet sorted out the previous data. The girl knew the story of the poor guy. He was kidnapped and he doesn't remember his past. There had never been so much suffering in her life. His face was hidden, but his red hair was his distinguishing feature. There aren't many people like him. After all this, the girl needs to take a walk. There are too many thoughts in her head that need to be sorted out. She quickly came up with a plan. By finding this boy, she would prove to herself that the book was not lying. Having gathered enough people, she went in search of the guy, which would clear up a lot of things in her head. They arrived in a not very good place. There was nothing for such delicate creatures to do here. She just needs to check something. It won't take long. Only he kept her company. Thanks to his recognizable features, one can find him and prove that the girl is not going crazy. She was met at the arena by an escort. He helps those who come here for the first time. Emily had already heard about the red-haired gladiator. Meeting him was her main goal. The man was able to make her happy. She arrived here just in time for that very guy's fight. In the arena, people waited for the gladiators to clash in a fair fight, everyone placing bets on their favorite. Arriving here, she immediately heard a familiar name. It seems that this trip was not organized in vain. A place with a good view was prepared for her. Here she would be able to see the guy in all his glory. But it's too early to draw conclusions. Only one detail coincided. The whole thing could be a silly coincidence. Because of the shape, it was difficult to see important features, so it was unclear whether this was the right person. Only his eyes speak for themselves. No one else on this planet has such eyes. The golden eyes captivated the girl. This is exactly what she read about in the book. Despite everything, the battle continued, and it was not going well. Almost immediately, the guy in question was injured and was having trouble blocking punches. Emily didn't come here to watch bloodshed. One of the gladiators was at his best, and it was no problem for him to hit his opponent. The battle was almost over, but the red-haired one was not going to give up. He fought to the end. Despite being seriously wounded, the guy cannot afford to give up. In the end, both sides suffered, and it is impossible to choose a winner here. The spectators came here for a beautiful battle, but it ended too quickly and not the way they wanted. It seemed that only Emily was worried about the boys. She couldn't calmly watch them suffer. She wanted to help them. And it seems that only she wanted to do this. No one cared about the two wounded. Their own skin was the most important thing. The battle could not be left unfinished, so the man had to choose a winner. Tyler was still alive. He had no intention of going to the next world at such a young age. Emily heard what she wanted, and it's scary. It would have been better if all this had turned out to be a joke in the book. She didn't plan to stay here any longer than she was supposed to. The man advertised the next fight to her, but it was no use. The meeting with the manager worried the girl much more than unnecessary fights. They didn't argue with her and did everything necessary. She's about to have a serious conversation. Ray is shocked by the arrival of a noble lady in such a place. Such individuals have no place here. He didn't mind the girl seeing Tyler at his call alone. The poor guy would be brought here. She needs to keep her face. There's no need to tremble here. Emily just wants to make sure. Until the very end, she wanted to believe in this stupid coincidence. Someone was cruelly mocking her. A book couldn't predict her future. A couple of minutes later, the guy appeared in front of her. He wasn't even given time to rest after the battle. His wounds weren't even treated. No one cared about his condition. Emily was bigger than him, and such a child is forced to fight on equal terms with adults. Ray wasn't that worried about the guy. He could find a replacement for him anyway. The man carried out all the manager's orders. He did not stand on ceremony with the gladiator. Emily believed in their common sense until the very end, but it was in vain. No one was going to reduce the level of cruelty even in front of a lady. She had never seen anything like this in her life, and words could not describe how scared the girl was. Cold water will bring anyone to their senses, and the guy was no exception. Emily has no power here, but she will not allow the child to be treated like this. It is unacceptable. Her heart is full of kindness. No matter who sits in front of her, she will always treat him with all respect. She just wanted to help, forgetting about her goal, but everything quickly returned to normal when she saw the guy in all his glory. After the hard battle, no one treated him well, so now his surprise knew no bounds. Its distinctive features immediately caught the eye. Such beauty is difficult to hide. His entire appearance completely matched the description in the book. Such a coincidence is hard to deny. All the facts described in the book are true, which means that the girl is destined to die at the hands of the Emperor. After a couple of minutes, it was decided to return the guy to his room in a not very nice way. Such rudeness astonishes the girl. Ray doesn't see anything wrong with this treatment of slaves. The gladiators didn't deserve anything more. But Emily knows how important he is. He definitely plays an important role in her story. The girl's desire to take the guy with her pleasantly surprised the man. Such a gentle person has her own motive. Ray won't give away such a valuable item cheaply, but the girl doesn't care. She's prepared well for this. No price will scare her. She will leave here with the guy in any case. Finally, this sortie came to an end, and it ended in the girl's favor. She would never appear in this arena again, and besides, the chief gladiator was now with her. She was lucky that she was able to save the guy. She would have done anything to take him away from this hell. Perhaps he is the one who can change the girl's fate. Tyler didn't remain silent for long. He immediately realized that they had taken him for a reason. He is sure that his experience will be useful for killing the girl's enemy. There was no need to come for him just like that. This is not the conversation Emily was prepared for, and she doesn't know how to get out of it. She didn't need a personal killer. The purpose of ransoming the guy was completely different. She can't tell a stranger about the book that writes her future and that pushed her to this action. In the end, the guy was presented in the role of a bodyguard, a role that would suit him with his skills. Clarifying questions lead the girl to a dead end. She runs out of excuses. Tyler himself saw the reason why a gladiator was chosen for this role, and not a knight. A not very good picture immediately popped into his head. He knows that gladiators are a popular way for people to vent their anger, and they are perfect for that. Emily can swear on anything that she has no evil intent. She is not a cruel person. He never received a clear answer as to why he was chosen. It just happened. In the end, Emily found only one reason for this ransom. She simply liked the guy, and he just needed to accept it. He certainly won't argue with such a reason. All that remains for a good picture is to bring him into a divine appearance. Emily had to wait a long time for Tyler to be brought to her in his new guise. The guy was hard to recognize. He looked nothing like the intimidated gladiator. A month had passed since his move. A doctor visited him every day, and the young lady did not leave his side for a single step. At first he was treated with suspicion, but soon this passed. No one would dare to mock him. Emily always takes him with her. She makes sure the guy gets everything he needs. His best life began, and with it he felt important. Emily never saw him as someone pathetic. She treated him with all the kindness she could muster. The guy still doesn't understand the reason for this attitude. They've known each other for a very short time. He doesn't want to think that everything is about his appearance. The girl easily notices when Tyler's face changes. She wants him to feel great. He keeps trying to get honesty from the girl. He was definitely not taken from slavery for nothing. A person like him can't be liked by people, so there must be a good reason for such a decision. Tyler is ready to hear any truth. If only he would stop rushing around. Every life is important to Emily, so she couldn't leave him in the arena. She would have done it earlier if she knew about him. The girl wants to explain her point of view. There is nothing special about it. She just wants to help. She intends to create good memories for Tyler so that he will forget all the horrors that surrounded him. A few days later, a large sum of money was prepared. It was a ransom. This money was prepared especially for him. It should be enough for some time. The Count did not want to see such a person in his house, despite his daughter's wishes. They want to get rid of Tyler. They are ready to offer him money for it. There is nothing else for him to do here. He had always wanted to get to the truth, and only now did it dawn on him that Emily had brought him here out of the kindness of her heart. It was in her nature to help everyone. For the rest, he was a burden that always brought problems. Luckily for him, Emily appeared here. She would not tolerate such lawlessness. She doesn't hesitate to speak to her father in a raised voice when such things happen behind her back. The girl sees no reason to send the guy out of their house, even if he is already healthy, especially since it cannot be done without her knowledge. Tyler stood by as the war between the relatives unfolded. Emily had already become close to the guy. He was dear to her, but it was not a fact that the guy adhered to the same. The guy didn't intervene for a long time, but the time came for him to say a few words. His past cannot be erased. He really did kill people, but he himself can now only speak thanks to the young lady. His life no longer belonged to him. From now on, he devotes himself to serving his mistress. It was a serious statement that the girl definitely didn't expect to hear. She never admitted to anyone that that damned book was to blame for everything. Emily is ready to go with another night. If only her father would not worry and leave Tyler alone. Essentially, David can't go against his own child, so he has to give in. The girl's persuasion worked perfectly. She got her way. No matter how well everything ended, she was ashamed of her father. Tyler didn't deserve such treatment. The guy understands perfectly well how everyone really treats him. He's already used to it. He is not alone in this house. Emily will always be by his side. No matter how selfish the reason for bringing him here was, she wouldn't allow anyone to treat him like that. The girl hasn't done so much for the guy, yet his best days are still ahead. Tyler is touched by this attitude. No one has ever seen him as an ordinary guy. Emily was ready to do everything for his well-being. She did not expect anything in return, but the guy was of a different mind. For her kindness, Tyler will serve her faithfully and always will. He will be next to her every day, as long as the girl herself allows him to do so. Emily had no intention of driving him away. She wanted to make his life better. Having received the oath, she believed that her future had changed, and that only a bright road awaited her from now on. The girl had no idea how wrong she was. The book began to shine again. Emily's actions had definitely changed the future. She couldn't shake the feeling that everything would be fine, since she had tried so hard to change her ending. But everything turned out exactly the opposite, and Emily didn't want to see that. The future became even darker. All she heard was how they wanted to kill everyone. Her house was consumed by fire. It was her own trap. There was no way out. No one would come to her aid. Everyone in the house was dead. Someone had clearly made sure no one had a chance of survival. Knights walked around the house. They carried out the order to leave no one alive, and they did this beautifully. Emily could not stop them in any way. His Majesty's words were more important to them than anything else. She was confident in her family's good reputation, but as practice shows, no one likes traitors. The girl can't believe her ears. Her father couldn't change himself and take the bad side. The Emperor makes it clear to everyone that he will deal harshly with such people. David wishes he was going crazy, but unfortunately he is not. He lost his only daughter, and now he doesn't care about anything, not even his own life. Emily just watched it happen. She couldn't change anything. For the sake of revenge, the father organized a rebellion against the one who dared to deprive him of what was most precious to him. David's nightmares never end, and the Emperor will not leave his dead wife behind. By his order, both his body and his wife's body will be simply thrown away. They deserve no respect. Whatever Emily did, she didn't change the family's future. It was terrible. Just seeing this, she couldn't calm down. Her family had always treated everyone well. They didn't deserve such an end. Hysteria overwhelmed her. Everyone died because of her, and nothing could be done about it. She was not alone here, as he promised. Tyler was always there. He doesn't know what happened, but it doesn't bother him. The main thing is to calm the lady down. Emily saw herself die at the hands of the Emperor, and it also affected her entire family. She doesn't believe herself, so it will be difficult to explain to anyone what is happening. Until now, she had not found anyone who saw the same thing as she did. Even her father did not understand her. She has to pretend that nothing is happening, but the girl is slowly starting to go crazy. It was all useless. There was still a small hope that Tyler would help her. Perhaps he is just as chosen as he is, since he is included in the list of characters in history. Emily showed him the book at her own risk. She needed to find an ally. Unfortunately, the book in his hands was empty, and there was nothing interesting in it. All the girl's expectations were shattered in an instant, and she was left alone with her problems. Tyler wanted to help her, but every word he said only made the situation worse. The wall inside her collapsed. The girl could no longer contain herself. All her emotions burst out of her. The guy promised to always help her, but now he was useless. He didn't have a single idea on how to fix everything. A few hours ago, he had a serious conversation with David. He needs to become stronger so that no one can encroach on his mistress. Tyler got a chance to prove his worth by training with the Knights. During training, he showed good results. He easily beat more experienced guys. The boys enjoyed watching him, but they had a serious competitor. Tyler wasn't afraid to approach them with questions. He was used to addressing people directly if necessary. The knights did not expect to hear a question about the Countess. It was a forbidden topic. He was immediately warned that he should not take this path, otherwise trouble would follow him. Tyler didn't know about the Countess's sad death, but now his mistress's behavior seems logical. In this courtyard, everyone felt sorry for the young lady. She grew up without motherly love. Emily has been alone since birth. She doesn't even have friends. Tyler is the only one who was able to get close to her. He needs to protect this relationship. He had never seen the girl as a friend, but now she had revealed a new side to him. The training should continue, but the guy is urged to stop it. It's easy to guess that Tyler wants to see the young lady. New information about her doesn't give him peace. The guy was released under certain conditions. He has little time for this meeting. The guy was looking forward to a pleasant conversation, but the picture that opened up broke his heart. Tyler caught the girl at a vulnerable moment, and from that moment on, he promised himself to protect her from all harm. Thanks to him, Emily was able to calm down and had support. You can't sit back. The girl needs a plan. Her fate depends on her. Tyler was the only one she could let into her plan. No one could stop her. The guy didn't come here to listen to the girl's wishes about escape. He can't allow that. Emily said too much. Now she will have to wriggle out of it to remove suspicion from herself. Only Tyler already knew about the girl's connections, so it was not possible to deceive him. She may shed tears for a long time, and it will be a waste of time. It is necessary to act. She has a person in mind who could take over the post of emperor. It is important for her to avoid any contact with him so that she is not chosen for this role, otherwise the future cannot be fixed. The plan was going well, but she encountered one snag that ruined everything. Tyler must be acquainted with the Crown Prince in order to maintain his status as an attendant. There are several possible scenarios, one of which involves Tyler preventing her murder. The girl will probably be rewarded for her good treatment, but everything could fall apart due to the Emperor's decision. In another version, Emily will have to leave her homeland, so she will protect the whole family from the very beginning. The guy quietly waited for the lady to speak to him again. She was immersed in her thoughts. Coming out of them, she saw in the guy someone who could tell her about life on the street. Tyler had experience with this, so he quickly cooled her ardor. A noble lady would not cope outside the house. According to him, there is nothing to do there without a security guard. Danger is everywhere. She needs someone who has not taken an oath to serve this house. Only such a person can accompany her everywhere. Tyler was perfect for the role, but he still felt out of place. Emily's panic made her miss such obvious points. She was lucky to have someone nearby who could still think clearly. Whatever the girl has in mind, Tyler will never leave her. He will protect her no matter what. Such generosity was pleasant, but Emily knows that everyone has their own benefit everywhere. She doesn't understand his motives and can't do anything about it. She can only trust him. In the end, Emily was ready to run away with him right now. The main thing was to hear his consent to such an adventure. No matter what happens, the guy will not go back on his promise. Time flew by, and before the girl knew it, it was time for the debutante ball. Emily's age dictates that it's time to prepare, but that wasn't part of her plans. She tries to avoid this event by all means. She doesn't need to meet with the Emperor. Her father is serious about finding a partner for her, so that after his death she won't be left alone. Only once does he ask her to fulfill his father's wish. It is not very often that he turns to her with such requests. The image of her father begging for mercy immediately popped into her head. With such memories, she could not refuse him. A few days later, Emily was getting ready for the ball, reluctantly, and she looked too good. The girl is doing exactly what she wanted to avoid in this form. The prince will definitely notice her. In any case, she can always escape. The main thing now is not to attract people to herself. Tyler was also preparing for this event. It was the first time in his life that such an important celebration had happened, and he needed to look good. He prepared himself properly to match the young lady. With the guy around, all the girl's fears left her. She hadn't felt so determined for a long time. Together they will overcome all difficulties. They have nothing to fear. The girl had never been to the Imperial Palace before. In any other case, she would have admired this place. Emily then had to leave Tyler, but she definitely wouldn't be staying at the ball. Unfortunately, due to his status, Tyler cannot go the whole way with the girl, but in spirit, he will always be there. The event brought together different strata of society. Everyone wanted to look their best. The emperor was pleased to gather debutantes here. Young talents are found everywhere. Emily never saw the crown prince. It seems luck was on her side. The man looked at those present. He was interested in new faces. He seemed to be interested only in Emily, his eyes piercing her soul. Perhaps the girl is just winding herself up. No one cares about her. The emperor did not hide his joy at seeing everyone, but there was a chill emanating from that smile. The best musicians were gathered here. They were responsible for the atmosphere. The girl had no strength left. It was time for her to leave this place. Luckily for her, no one was interested in her. While her father was away, she wanted to return, but she was not destined to do so. Finally, there was a brave man who wanted to dance with the girl. With all due politeness, she wanted to refuse, but here too she was prevented. Emily had been doing well all evening, but fate decided to throw her a couple of surprises at the end. The emperor himself wanted to become her partner. No one else was suitable for this role. She was lucky that she found a partner, so her refusal wouldn't be strange. Unfortunately, the guy disappeared. He didn't want to cross paths with the emperor. The girl was left alone, and now she definitely wouldn't be able to escape from the man. She tried to come up with excuses until the very end, but it was all in vain. The emperor would not leave without achieving his goal. She would definitely not forget such a betrayal from the guy. She had no choice but to agree to one dance. The ladies in the hall were shocked by such a beautiful couple. They would like to be in Emily's place. Everyone will remember such a debut. Not everyone gets the chance to dance for the first time with such a person. After some time, the man stopped observing decency. His hands wandered all over the girl's body. Emily knows perfectly well that this shouldn't happen, but she can't do anything about it. The girl fell into a trap. They did whatever they wanted to her. The man enjoyed her reaction. He was able to fully appreciate the girl's appearance. After this dance, Emily did not come to her senses for a long time. She could not move from the spot for a long time. A shudder ran through her. She was too young for such a relationship with a man, but he didn't care. Father missed a lot while he was sorting out his affairs. How fortunately the Duke called him to him. She couldn't tell what happened to her. She was ashamed of it. As soon as she had the opportunity, she immediately rushed to Tyler. She wanted to get out of here. The guy didn't have time to do anything before the order was given to leave. There was nothing more for them to do here. For several hours, Emily did not let anyone near her. She did not want to talk to anyone. Only with Tyler did she dare to share the story of her first dance. Just thinking about it sent shivers down her spine, and it was painful for her to remember that moment. It would be better if the guy didn't hear this. He promised to protect her and failed on the first day. The girl was not dressed up so that some man could treat her like that. Tyler decided to quote Emily herself and turn the situation in her favor. She taught him to value life, taught him to cover up bad memories with good ones. The girl couldn't imagine the influence she had on the former gladiator. Their dance may be the first memory that will overcome this terrible moment. Emily's mood was at rock bottom, and she had no desire to do anything. But, surprisingly, she agreed. Dancing with a guy could be the start of something more. Tyler himself did not expect to receive consent so quickly. He, of course, suggested it himself, but he didn't think that the lady would ultimately agree. He had little experience in this area, but for the sake of the lady, he was ready to show the maximum of his abilities. He had never stepped on her foot before, and it seemed as if two professionals were dancing. Tyler practiced specifically to win Emily over. It was important to him to be on par with her. One day he observed her classes, which allowed him to remember some details for his own practice. Emily had no idea what a gifted boy she had taken for herself. He still lacks practice, but for his first time he shows good results. Along the way, the girl taught him how to place his feet correctly. This moment was wonderful without any additions. Tyler didn't feel out of place. He felt at ease with the girl. The two of them had a much better time than at the ball here. No one would disturb them. They could dance until their legs hurt, but they were stopped. Everything comes to an end. The father was not in the mood. He did not care about his daughter's condition. Business was the most important thing. There was no expression on his face, and upon returning home the situation only worsened. A terrible announcement was made in the office about how the girl had become a candidate for the role of Empress Consort. She knew that she could take this post, but the addition frightened her. She had no intention of becoming the ruler's wife. Something strange is happening. her future has changed for the worse. In the book, she had another role that was not destined to come true. She had read many times how to become an empress, not an old man's wife. Something definitely went wrong here. Her excitement could be felt just by standing next to her. She was not alone here. David will definitely find a way out. He won't allow some ruler to do whatever he wants. Emily urgently needs to check the book before she ruins anything. There, she did not find any mention of her husband. It seems that everything written is not true. However, Tyler did exist in reality, so it is difficult to draw a definitive conclusion. The guy already knew what awaited the girl in the future. The Count told him everything. The girl didn't know anything. She was shocked no less than the others. She could only think about escape. It was her only way out, but it seems there is another way to save herself. Emily will make everyone change their minds. Tyler will not be able to stop her from doing something terrible. The guy couldn't keep up with his mistress's thoughts. Her every step frightened him. Emily needs help. She can't hurt herself and ruin her appearance. She needs someone strong in spirit for this. This role fell on the shoulders of a guy. He crippled people, but he is not going to do the same to a loved one. A small cut is enough. The main thing is that it stops being perfect. It was an extreme measure, but it had to be done. Emily saw nothing that could save her. She was ready to do anything just to change her fate. The method was dirty, so Tyler is not sure that the girl will take such a step. The girl was facing a death sentence anyway, so she makes any decision easily. In that case, Tyler will come to her at night to fix her situation. At the right hour, the guy appeared in the girl's chambers. She saw him as her salvation. Emily had enough time to prepare. The escape shouldn't be a problem. But the guy wasn't going to run, so the girl wasted her energy. It was a serious step that was difficult for Tyler to come to terms with, but for the girl he was ready to do anything. He can help her get rid of her honor, but it must be her own deliberate decision. Emily is ready to do anything to save her life. Death scares her much more than various methods of salvation. Tyler didn't argue with her. He accepted her decision with dignity and moved on to executing the plan. A second later, blood was flying all over the room. This was not what the girl had been prepared for. The guy didn't blink. When he cut himself, he'd suffered far more serious injuries in the arena. As usual, Emily rushed to help the guy. She spent a lot of energy so that he could recover. Her work should not be in vain. Tyler didn't deviate from the plan at his request. The girl would have to stay in her chambers until dawn, and he would do the rest himself. She can only wait until everything happens, something she would never have thought of on her own. She quickly got the gist of the matter and was ready to add the finishing touches to make everyone believe it. She wasn't afraid to pretend she had a lover, but Tyler wasn't going to take part in it. Emily had seen worse things, so she didn't feel anything like the guy did now. The girl is ready to take this step just to survive, especially since after this she will be able to become the guy's wife. It was amazing that a commoner like Tyler was suitable for the role of a husband to the mistress. In reality, Emily had planned to pretend to be a married couple after their escape, so she's just speeding things up. This would have to be done to get rid of suspicion, a side of their plan that Tyler had no idea about. It's time for the guy to confess that lately he's been haunted by one thought. He wants to leave the mansion. This desire haunts him every day. This news did not make the girl happy. She already had a lot of problems, and now the only person close to her decided to leave her. Tyler was confident that his decision was the right one, and after this night they would definitely be looking for him. Until the very end, Emily hoped that this was a joke, but reality was harsh on her. She had never seen a guy so serious before. It looked like she would be alone again. The girl immediately began to blame herself for his decision. She did not want to break up with him. She is ready to do anything just so that he stays with her without him. Life will become much worse. She had a sea of opportunities to improve the guy. For him, she would jump above her head. She tried to stop him as best she could, but it was no use. Tyler wasn't going to stop. He did everything to help the lady. Now he needed to find his way. She won't be able to live normally without him. She's become attached to him. She doesn't care about the future. The main thing is what's happening now, and at the moment she can't see life without her boyfriend. Tyler won't change his mind no matter how much they try to persuade him, but he will definitely return when the time comes. It was important for the guy to leave right now. Nothing could stop him. In the future, she may find herself in trouble and will definitely need the help of her loved ones. Emily will let the guy go only after he promises to return when she needs him most. It was hard for Tyler to leave, but it was necessary. He had no idea how important he was to the girl. The guy swears with everything he has that he will help her no matter what. The girl had experienced many shocks during the day, but only now her heart could no longer bear what was happening. This was the last time they were together. It was unknown when their paths would cross again. He will definitely return to his mistress. She can be sure of that. So the girl was left alone. She no longer had a faithful friend. The next day, the estate was plunged into chaos. Emily was stripped of her status due to the scandal, and Tyler was never found. Every day, Emily checked the book, constantly thinking about the guy. She was waiting for him. 7 years later, changes occurred in the girl's family that she did not expect at all. David has changed his status. From now on, he is a marquis. For him, this is a step into a bright future. Once again, the facts of reality and the book do not match in the girl's head. The emperor in history addressed his father differently, which means there are no more coincidences. The surprises didn't end there. Emily was sent a marriage proposal, and once again the emperor had his eye on her. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't become a shadow. It is amazing that the new emperor became interested in her without ever having seen her. A year ago, the unimaginable happened. The new emperor staged a coup and overthrew the government. By his own efforts, he changed his position and took the status for himself. This used to worry her, but now, thanks to Tyler, she managed to avoid the terrible thing. Life went on as usual. This topic touched her again. Now she has enough strength to refuse it. Emily will not remain silent. The peaceful days were over. Someone from above took control of her destiny. The events of the book began to coincide with reality, and fear crept up on the girl unnoticed. Emily can't die like this. She still has her whole life ahead of her, so it's time to escape. At that moment, while she was packing her things, the one she remembered every day appeared. Tyler came to fulfill his promise. He never forgot about it. This meeting was a gift from fate. Just one look at him gave Emily hope for salvation. For a while, she forgot about her problems. The guy occupied all her thoughts. There was so much to know about him. It is unknown where he disappeared to all this time, what was happening in his life. The girl had so many questions for him, but she was most concerned about his memory. The main thing is that he remembers his promise to protect Emily from all the troubles that may come her way. Every day Tyler replayed his words in his head. He always keeps his promises. Only a lot of time had passed, and perhaps he had already lost the right to be near her. Emily would never give him up no matter what happened. Tyler is worthy. During his absence, he had become unaccustomed to such a strong reaction. He was almost strangled. Emily could sit like this for several hours. The guy gave her a feeling of security and calm. The problems didn't allow her to relax, but thanks to them, she came up with a brilliant idea. She doesn't need to run alone. Tyler will make good company. Tyler wasn't prepared to be immediately overwhelmed with new tasks. The girl's desires have not changed. She still does not want to be an empress. It was not her destiny. Tyler was surprised by the girl's categoricalness regarding marriage with the emperor. Emily imagined her life only with a guy. She didn't see anyone else next to her. The guy had no idea how important he was to Emily. They had to talk frankly with each other. The girl even prepared herself for the life of a commoner. Difficulties do not frighten her. She had already made a plan for how they could survive. Everything was working out well in her head. Despite the difficulties, Tyler will allow her to be whoever she wants. She can be herself around him. The guy will do everything for her well-being. It was important for Emily to hear words of support. She was not alone in this harsh world. In any case, she gave up the life of a countess, so she needs to get used to the harsh reality. The girl will have to be left alone for a couple of hours, then a better future will await her. If no one comes for her, she will go off in search of her own path. The girl will not wait long. No matter how confident she is, she doesn't want to travel alone. She needs company. Tyler is not afraid to leave her alone, because he will definitely return to her. No matter what happens, the guy will always come to her, and together they will have a good life. The next morning, the maid was not herself, and urgently needed to warn the lady. Emily must prepare for the meeting with His Majesty for her sake. This event was expedited. The father could not stand aside when his daughter was at the center of events. They waited quietly for His Majesty to appear, each of them afraid of what might happen. The man she feared most stood before her, and she was unable to avoid this meeting. The girl was waiting for Tyler to appear, but because of him she hadn't run away yet. As soon as she looked up, all fear retreated. This was the best turn of events. Tyler appeared before her in all his glory, and as he promised, he had returned for her. All boundaries of decency were thrown aside. Emily was not going to stand still when the person closest to her came for her. She was happy, all the promises were fulfilled. Unexpectedly, everyone at court greeted His Majesty. Such an important person should only be greeted in this way. Only now did the girl realize who she was actually hugging. Tyler came here to his wife to keep the promise he made, and specifically for this purpose he personally raised his status. From now on, he will protect the girl from everything in this world. This was exactly the emperor that Emily had been avoiding, and fate itself had brought them together. The girl must die from the hands into which she threw herself. Tyler waited a long time for the lady's response. He wanted to see her joy at his proposal. Until the very end, Emily refused to believe what was happening. A commoner could not rise so high. The boy worked tirelessly to earn a place in society. Only then could he calmly approach Emily. The girl has lost control of her life. Important decisions are being made for her. She couldn't say anything to the guy. All the words were stuck in her throat. She can't imagine what could have happened during their separation. Over these 7 years, the guy has changed, but remained just as handsome. He probably has a lot of fans. Emily needs help, but she can still move around on her own, so this kind of care was unnecessary. She urgently needs to escape before she gets trapped. Soon all the roads will be blocked. The gears were turning in her head. It was up to her whether she would gain freedom. Tyler made her an offer she couldn't refuse, but she decided to do just that. Everyone who heard her refusal was afraid of the emperor's reaction. His answer could be unpredictable. It seems the girl decided to run away from him after their wedding night. She definitely didn't do anything like that. There was nothing between them, so there's nothing to blame her for. Everyone in the area heard this. The awkwardness of the situation was off the charts. The last thing she needed was for rumors to spread around the area, so the guy had to be careful with his words. And besides, none of this had happened. Despite the persuasion, the guy continued to tell the details of their wild night, something that maids definitely shouldn't hear. It would be one thing if all this were true, but if it were, they won't think of her in the best possible light. Emily used to be talking to sweet Tyler. Now there was a cheeky boy sitting in front of her. His jokes went too far. He didn't really think about how the girl would feel. Her reputation was ruined. Now everyone will whisper when they see her. Tyler has joked enough about their first night. He won't tease the girl anymore, otherwise she will soon burst with anger. After all, Emily heard the truth from the guy's lips. She was missed and remembered as a loyal friend. Tyler had a hard life. Every day he missed this blonde. I still can't believe that there is someone in this world who is sincerely happy to see a girl. It's hard to imagine that Emily would fall by his hand. That simply can't happen. Nothing can be hidden from the guy's keen eye. He immediately notices any change in Emily. He immediately remembered that awkward moment of refusal. This was not the answer he expected to hear. This conversation is difficult for him, but it cannot be postponed, otherwise it can only get worse. They need to sort out the girl's desire in terms of marriage. Tyler is a good option, which she refuses. The girl needs to breathe a sigh of relief. It's too early to draw any conclusions. It's entirely possible that the future has changed so that she can now have an honest conversation with him. In fact, she doesn't like the idea of getting status in this country, but she has no complaints about the guy himself. Now Tyler can relax too. He's already thought up some scary things. It turned out that they had been hiding it from Emily all this time so that the grand plans would not fall apart. She could never have imagined that the conversation would be about the army. Thanks to the girl's father, Tyler became emperor and his rear was well covered. Who would have thought that her father would voluntarily participate in the uprising? Emily doesn't know him at all. The guy hadn't seen the lady for too long. He was trying to speed up the moment of their meeting as much as he could, and now he had no need to hide his happiness. The girl completely forgot what kind of person she was communicating with. She wouldn't have been able to communicate so simply and easily with someone else like him. She immediately switched to a different communication style as required by the situation. Emily is no longer his mistress here. She occupies an inferior place. For the guy, nothing had changed, he still belonged to the girl. She will not tolerate such behavior from the Emperor. No matter what the relationship between them is, there must be boundaries. There needs to be a wall between them so that the guy's authority is not damaged. Tyler keeps going back to his childhood, but that's wrong. He's grown up and his actions should be adult. Over these 7 years, the girl has grown up. She has developed a backbone, so she can defend her point of view. Tyler's heart was hurt. Next to her, he wanted to be the same carefree boy. Since there must be decency, a couple of points can be taken into account officially. He still won't communicate with her. Emily was raised well not to be at a loss in front of His Majesty, so it will be difficult for her brain to adjust. The guy doesn't order her around, they're friends, so he can just ask her to be gentler. His melancholy cannot be described by all the words in the world, so there is no need to waste time on empty talk. After this, she definitely won't be able to refuse him. She'll have to accept it and stop seeing him as someone above her. The guy likes this kind of compliance. Now they can communicate as equals. Only in public, Emily will still observe formalities. In private, they can communicate as friends. Tyler wouldn't mind this arrangement. At least this way they could maintain the same atmosphere. The ride continued, the distance between the couple decreasing every minute. The girl has never been so close to the opposite sex she can't hide from him anywhere. Tyler won't leave her. It's the only way he can hold her hand, the kind of closeness he's dreamed of all these years. The girl has a lot of work ahead of her. She has a lot to do. The guy won't let her go. They need to arrange a wedding, a dinner together, and then even more interesting things will happen. He doesn't tell them directly what awaits them. The girl must guess for herself. She doesn't want to think about this. She's generally scared of the guy's thoughts. It's as if the boy in front of her isn't the one she saved. He's raising too many sensitive topics. There was nothing between them. There was no need to discuss it, especially since they hadn't become a couple yet. He could have continued to mock her for a long time, but something went wrong. His instincts were sounding the alarm. This strange feeling was transmitted to the girl. She needed to be quieter so as not to attract attention. She had not yet left the territory of her possessions when problems began to rain down on her. The situation was getting out of control. Someone deliberately wanted to injure the future empress. If it weren't for Tyler, Emily's life would have ended right now. She had never been so close to death before. A miracle saved her. She will have to rely on the guy. She won't be able to get out of this carriage intact on her own. The Emperor will do everything for her. He will not leave anyone alive after such a brutal attack. He needs to leave the girl alone for a while. He will have to get his hands dirty. The first group of attackers has already paid for their actions, and now the guy has to make his final contribution. Unfortunately, Emily won't be able to hide from everything that's happening here. The sounds of murder describe the whole picture well. For Tyler, the main thing is to keep the girl safe and sound. He doesn't pay attention to himself. He had already faced attempts to kill him more than once. He had to be cruel to ascend to the throne. Tyler wasn't the main target now, and that infuriated him even more. The one who dared to attack his wife will suffer. The guy will mock him with particular cruelty. This day hasn't been going well since the morning, and now she needs to be quieter than a mouse so that the enemies don't get her. She studied the book from beginning to end, and not once did she come across a passage about the attack. At that moment, Emily's feelings intensified. She was frightened by every rustle that either moved away or approached her shelter. The girl was found. It seems the Emperor failed to cope with the task. Emily mentally said goodbye to all her loved ones. Her end had come. She started to panic too early. No one would do anything with her. Tyler had to work hard, but for the sake of his future wife, he was able to try to sort everything out. Emily no longer saw him as her savior. The guy opened up to her in a new way. It is by his hand that she must die in the future. Her friend will become a murderer. It was a blow to her heart. She expected to see anyone in the place of her tormentor, but not the one she believed in so much. Tyler did everything for the girl's well-being, but it didn't lead to anything good. A picture opened before his eyes that was worse than what he had just done to the attackers. The girl was hysterical. Just one look at the guy would cause her to have a panic attack. He was used to seeing blood, and around Emily he had to watch his appearance. He had completely forgotten how easy it was to frighten a lady. He had to be careful with her, like with a fragile vase. All Emily wants is to live. She won't have peace near Tyler. For many years she was tormented by the same nightmare. She lived through her own death. There were no changes. She always died by the Emperor's sword. This time, too, nothing changed. The guy remained just as cruel to her. No matter how much Emily wanted to, she couldn't wake up. Fear became her faithful companion. She had never seen his face before. He had always been a stranger to her. Now the girl clearly saw at whose hands she would fall. Nightmares haunted her not only in her dreams, but also in life. She no longer has peace. When she came to, she experienced a new wave of horror. Her real life was no better than in her dreams. Tyler never left her side. He had never worried about anyone so much in his life. It wasn't him she wanted to see when she woke up. Panic was creeping up on her again. Emily couldn't calm down because of the guy who wanted to help her so much, but at the same time was her absolute nightmare. It's a pity no one can read minds, otherwise everyone would know not to approach her. Nothing had happened to her yet, but she knew what was waiting for her. Emily didn't want to die. Tyler will not harm her. He will take away all her troubles with his hugs. The girl was afraid of him, but only from him did she feel such care. The guy remembered how they spent time, how he calmed her down, how they felt good together. He was always there when she cried, only he saw her true feelings. Tyler may have remembered her as a whiny noblewoman, but that didn't change his feelings for the girl. He always came to her. Her tears were his own tragedy. Over time, nothing has changed. Tyler wants to share all her problems with her. Together they will overcome everything. Emily felt comfortable next to him. Somehow he took away all the bad things. After a while, she finally calmed down, and now they can talk calmly. Without realizing it, the girl scared the guy to death. Her fainting was not planned. Tyler shouldn't have shown up like that. It was his own fault that the girl was in such a state. Basically, Emily was always protected. Tyler always treated her with special care. Still, she is grateful to him for saving her. Without him, her death would have come much earlier. No matter how much she was afraid of him, everything was fine with her now. In some way, he was her guardian angel. The guy, as before, kept his promise. For him, it was eternal. She believes him that no matter what happens to her, her faithful knight will always come to her. As a child, he was a charming boy, and his mere appearance brightened up dark days. He will become a tyrant, and we must do everything possible to prevent this from happening. Emily was fine, so she could be let go. Now all this tenderness was unnecessary. Tyler had other plans, and he wasn't going to let go now or in the future. Previously, the girl communicated with a commoner. She was of a higher status. Now the roles have reversed. The guy deliberately climbed up the social ladder to spend more time with Emily. They spent a lot of time apart, so now Tyler has to make up for lost time. The first thing the guy did was start with a romantic evening, something that was simply impossible before. The couple had a good time together, and the rare wine helped them relax. This evening took on new colors, and they moved on to it somehow abruptly. Emily didn't know what the guy had planned a little earlier, but she didn't like it from the very beginning. She is tired of these jokes, this affectionate attitude. She is able to move around on her own. Tyler had no intention of listening to her. He liked being a gentleman in front of her and showing his masculinity. All this time the maids stood to the side. They behaved as quietly as possible so as not to disturb the couple's cooing. Their journey had lasted too long. It was time for the girl to have some refreshment. She didn't refuse food. Tyler would be good company during lunch. Because of all the worries, Emily didn't notice how much she wanted to eat. She needed to fix the situation as soon as possible. Tyler enjoyed spending time with her and hoped there would be no further problems, but that was not the case. The girl was again overcome with trembling. For some unknown reason, she felt unwell here. The guy didn't miss it, but he didn't discuss it. There had already been a lot of different shocks today. After their meeting, different memories kept popping up in the guy's head, one more fun than the other. Emily, unlike the guy, saw no reason to have fun. She didn't want to dwell on the past. It turned out that the girl had behaved the same way before. She always took the guy out for excellent food. These memories made her blush. She just wanted to eat and not waste a second. When she is hungry, she behaves strangely. This is her peculiarity that the guy likes. The girl's confusion quickly gave way to surprise. Everything here had been prepared especially for her. Thanks to her boyfriend, she can fully enjoy her favorite dishes, and her day has become much better. Tyler would forever watch the girl's embarrassment. She is charming in her simplicity. The cutie image used to belong to Tyler, but it has changed a lot since their last meeting. The girl couldn't even jokingly call him cute. There was a completely different person in front of her. A completely new aura surrounded her from the guy. She looked at him with a different look. It was difficult for her to admit his attractiveness to herself. His whole appearance attracted attention. Tyler knows the girl too well. He can tell when she's nervous. It's unclear when he became like this, although perhaps the guy was always so caring. The dinner was luxurious. Emily has a very small stomach. Not all the dishes can fit in it. As expected, the maids looked after the future empress. They had to put her in order. She has a temporary escort. It will be difficult to navigate here without Brian. He is responsible for her safety after the last attack. The Emperor will not leave her without protection. Even from a distance, Tyler cares for her. She was dear to him. It is an honor for him to guard such an important person, and it is a chance for him to show his abilities. He will be happy to see the lady off. He enjoys such company. A few days ago, the girl denied the role of the Empress, but now she is happy to be Tyler's wife. But she didn't think at all that they should move to a new level of their relationship. Emily was suddenly reminded of their age difference. She wasn't ready for anything more with someone younger than her. The guy didn't think about such trifles. He always wanted to be with her, even if he had to scare her a little. In such a huge palace, she did not notice the appearance of the guy here. She should be attentive. Tyler felt comfortable here. In his own home, he could talk about different topics. Sometimes Emily doesn't understand the guy, but that will change soon. Now she needs to relax. For some reason, the girl couldn't take her eyes off him, as if she was hypnotized. From a sweet boy, Tyler turned into a real man. He attracted attention. Wine will help them break down the wall between them. They should become even closer to each other. The guy exuded confidence, but it didn't rub off on Emily. For her, the guy was like a younger brother. She can't calmly stand next to him like this. She increases the distance as quickly as possible. Nothing should happen between them. Emily has eaten too much today, so a little exercise before bed would be helpful. The girl doesn't want to understand what he's getting at until the very end. The blush didn't take long to appear. She had no ideas in her head on how to avoid misunderstandings. Maybe she'll manage to get the guy drunk, then nothing bad will happen. Emily doesn't drink alcohol, so she had an advantage here. So she thought after a couple of minutes she was having fun. The girl was remembering their best moments. She couldn't be stopped. Tyler has learned to cope with alcohol throughout his life, and now it's not so easy to knock him down. The girl continued drinking. Thanks to the wine, she was finally able to let go of all her problems in this state. Nothing bothered her. The guy liked this atmosphere, but it can't last long. Emily has to stop. Tyler was used to seeing her as a stoic, sometimes uncoordinated girl. This was the first time she appeared in such a relaxed state. This moment allowed Emily to let go of all emotions. Her head was empty. Nothing worried her. It was a good moment for the guy to get to know her better. After all, they hadn't seen each other for 7 years. During this time, nothing happened to her. She closed herself off from the whole world in fear for her life. At the estate, her friends were books. She had no other entertainment. Unlike her, the guy definitely had adventures during this time. Tyler went through a lot. On the day of the girl's debut, the guy was not alone. Someone was interested in him. The Duke's butler found him. Froy was supposed to arrange their meeting. He knows everything about the guy. Although he sees him for the first time, the man is obliged to carry out the order in any case. Tyler had his own mission, and he wasn't about to give it up. The guy didn't immediately realize that his identity had been revealed. The fights didn't frighten him as much as this news. Froy will not tolerate refusal to meet. He always carries out all of his lordship's orders flawlessly. The man knows how Tyler was stolen and sold at birth, and how he suffered from the very beginning. It was in the arena that he was given his name. His parents disowned him. It was difficult for Tyler to confirm everything that was said. He doesn't remember anything from his life before the arena. Even with this information, it is not a fact that he is the very child who was sold. Froy always prepares verified information for conversations, so he knows exactly who he is talking to. Tyler, of course, wasn't going to trust the man so easily, but something in his words seemed to ring true. If this is true, then he has a chance to raise his status. He can become the girl's equal. He can meet the Duke and change his destiny, but he needs time to weigh the pros and cons. The Emperor's desire to marry Emily became an incentive for the boy to change his life. He needs something more than physical strength to protect the girl. No matter how difficult it was, he had to leave the girl so as not to be a simple guard for the rest of his life. The man was glad to see his son after many years. He was ready to give him his status in exchange for one favor. He will give up the entire empire if the current emperor is overthrown. Tyler will never miss this chance. He will personally bring his head on a silver platter. New, more difficult training awaited him, and reliable people gathered around him who helped him achieve his goals. He went through a real nightmare just to be worthy of the girl. Tyler doesn't regret the time spent. He was ready to do anything for Emily. Only a worthy motivation could have made him go through such difficulties. The guy got everything he wanted, but the girl still had no idea who exactly he had in mind. This was the most peaceful evening the guy had had in a long time. He wanted to experience all the delights of this day. Emily was only too happy to give him a massage after all the hardships he had gone through. He deserved it. The girl felt good, the wine helped her relax, and she needed to stop drinking. She didn't even notice how she finished the whole bottle that was enough for today. She gets drunk too quickly, and she'll definitely have a headache in the morning. And now she needs a good rest. Tyler will be happy to help her with this. She is, of course, drunk, but not that drunk. The girl cannot allow this to continue. Every action the guy took was imbued with confidence, but this feeling extended only to him. The girl started to get nervous again. She couldn't think normally around him. It's good that she still sees him as a man. He was already afraid that they wouldn't be able to get past the friendship stage. He had no doubt that their communication would be the same as in childhood. Once again, Emily sees a completely different guy in front of her. He changes with the snap of his fingers. It was definitely not the same little boy in front of her. It was as if she were getting to know him all over again. He doesn't see such changes in himself, but he is pleased with the girl's comments. She was also that same shy girl. Time did not affect her in any way. It was true that her reclusive lifestyle did not allow her to change. Her actions, habits, behavior remained the same. She was like an open book. And Tyler really liked it. That's how he remembered her. With her, he could be himself. The guy was not afraid to show his feelings. Only Emily wasn't ready for this. It was a serious step that needed to be postponed. Tyler is rushing things, and even then he can still control himself, but when he's around a girl, he loses his head. Emily's status as his wife awakened new emotions in him, but they had not yet been married. It was difficult for him to control himself around his loved one. The guy agrees to wait, but after the ceremony he will stop holding back, and the girl will not be able to escape from him. The girl managed to escape the terrible thing, but her suffering did not end there. After her refusal, she was immediately left alone. It seemed that she had offended the guy. In fact, he agrees, they don't need to rush until the status is officially established. And now she was left alone. It was a good moment to think about their relationship. It took her a while to realize the importance of seeing Tyler as a man, not a friend. The girl couldn't sleep well all night. She had disgraced herself greatly because of the wine. As soon as she finished breakfast, the guy visited her. They had one important matter. Every day here for Emily starts with an adventure, and now something new awaits her. Tyler remembers the girl's love for books, and he tried to create a real paradise for her. It was beautiful here until one detail caught my eye. The same light that emanated from that ill-fated book surrounded her. This was definitely not a good sign. She recognizes many of the books, but she will still find something to read. The guy's office is around the corner. He will always wait for her when she visits. Emily has trouble managing her emotions and can't hide when she's feeling down, so Tyler notices the changes in her right away. All her thoughts revolved around the book. She urgently needed to be alone to look into the future. Despite her request, Tyler had no intention of leaving her. He would not interfere with her. He felt like they would always be there, so he didn't want to leave. No matter how far there was between them, the girl always thought about him mentally. They were always close. Tyler is truly dear to her. He doesn't have to worry about that. It was difficult for her to come to terms with their new status. She needed time to digest it all. There was a connection between them. Tyler was pleased that someone really cared about him. It was important to him. He was constantly reassured by the thought that he could become the closest person to the girl. All the time they spent apart, he thought about their marriage. He would make a good husband. She once mentioned that she could become his wife, and this phrase was firmly ingrained in his head. Tyler didn't ask her the main question for a long time. His patience was running out. It is important for him to get an honest answer from Emily. His inner world depends on it. But he was not destined to hear the answer. Someone wanted to talk to him even more. How lucky she was that the guy had things to do. This conversation was postponed for a while. She had the opportunity to study the book again. Nothing had changed in its history for a long time. The main thing in this story was Tyler, the girl's fate depended on him. Everyone in this family values their honor, so Emily must not hide her misdeed. He can pardon her only if she confesses, otherwise she will face severe punishment. Now she was absolutely convinced that her fate depended on the guy who carried her in his arms and idolized her. He was always gentle with her, protected her from all troubles, and such a person, for some unseen reason, will become a tyrant. Unfortunately, her future has not changed, but all is not lost. She can fix everything. Future Emily had no intention of admitting to something she hadn't done. Tyler had collected evidence about the girl's participation in the meeting of the Assassin's Guild. This was a serious offense. There is no point in trying to hide anything from him. The guy will always find out the truth. Emily wasn't going to admit to anything like that. Her hands were clean. He had everything that made excuses not work. Everything pointed to the girl. She was driven into a dead end. She had no choice but to start talking herself. Emily is about to be thrown out because of some woman who is practically worshipped by everyone. Tyler might have turned a blind eye to her misdeed if it had been a simple attempted murder. But he will not forgive the supply of weapons to a foreign kingdom that was already treason. Now Emily was really worried. The situation was out of control. An argument unfolded between them until the initial cause of the disaster burst into the office. This holy girl who saved everyone from the plague does not want death to continue to spread. She is not angry about the attempted murder. The girl believes that everyone can come to their senses after a mistake. But Emily's betrayal definitely cannot be forgiven. Such a sin must be followed by severe punishment. This is the only thing the girl is not to blame for. She was left alone. No one supported her. Whatever she says, nothing works. It was decided to take her to another palace. She no longer has the right to be here. His Majesty was not going to listen to her excuses. He was already tired of it. This stranger's plan worked perfectly. She was able to get rid of the annoying bug. Emily's future unfolds in different ways, but each time disaster awaits her. After what she saw, she could not stand on her feet. Luckily for her, her faithful assistant was next to her. It was the first time Brian saw her in such a state, and panic began to grow, but according to his status, he had to push such feelings aside. His responsibility is to maintain the girl's well-being, and he can call anyone to help her. You can't tell that everything is fine with her, but she doesn't need help. Brian must obey her, so he will have to leave her. The trembling never went away. Her future often changed for the worse. The end always awaited her. Such a dear and caring Tyler will become a tyrant. Something will change him greatly. She hoped until the very end that this would not happen, but fate was harsh with her. She still has time to fix everything. The future that never happened can be changed. The book still hadn't stopped burning. Emily hadn't seen everything yet. The continuation of the story was not the most pleasant. The future Emily was treated disgustingly, despite her status. There was no point in resisting. Her position no longer meant anything. It's hard to watch from the outside what happens to you in the future, but this way she can learn a lot. There was only one person in the building who wanted to stop this chaos. This was something new in Emily's story. She immediately recognized her savior. Brian was her right-hand man. He would definitely get her out of this mess. He needs a little time to organize everything, but he definitely won't let Emily down. No matter what state the girl is in, she is definitely not capable of cheating. This is all slander. Brian trusts her. He knows her and her principles well, which is why he is ready to spend his energy to save her. There is a special relationship between her and Brian that Emily must not lose in the present. She will have to spend time studying the book. Interesting details may be hidden. She didn't dig around for long, but a clue quickly caught her eye. Tyler has become the main character of this story, so there is definitely no doubt about his future. Emily was married for political purposes, and his icy heart was subsequently melted. If this is so, then the girl is like an iceberg in comparison to him. Something terrible must have happened for a person to change so much. The name of this person was unknown, but perhaps it was she who was able to reach the soul of the emperor. Emily had long suspected that this was not her story, that the main female role did not belong to her. There must be another character to replace her. This saint will replace everyone, but her look is definitely not suitable for a leading role. Maybe she imagined it, but one can't be sure. Her future personality is responsible for the crimes, and her participation in this cannot be denied. Outwardly, they were no different from real people. Such an outcome would occur in a maximum of 2 years. Something out of the ordinary would have to happen in such a short time for such a kind girl to be willing to stain her hands with blood. She missed the guy. If the girl had received even a drop of warmth, she would not have gone for this. It seems Emily has found the reason why everything went wrong. The girl doesn't just have to fall in love with Tyler, that's her only task. If he is with the saint from the start, there will be no reason to become a tyrant. Emily will step aside and not interfere with these two. In theory, it all sounds easy. Moreover, the wedding ceremony hasn't happened yet, so the guy could easily be left alone. Your own life is more important, so you need to put aside all feelings and not interfere with true love. There was another hidden character. The whole story was not shown. Brian could well have taken this role. In the future, he was the only one who did not refuse it. She still has time to figure everything out. She won't drive Brian away anymore. She had been lost in her own thoughts for so long that she had completely forgotten about Tyler in the present. The guy caught her by surprise. He shouldn't have seen her in such a state. The future hasn't arrived yet, but Emily is still nervous. She needs to pull herself together to change everything. She shouldn't have aroused suspicion, but it was written all over her face. Tyler is ready to listen to everything that is on the soul of his future wife, so he can take away her sorrows. She accepted his care. This time Emily found something to say. The girl is just homesick, and while walking here, memories come flooding back. He understands such feelings. He tore her from her native nest. This grief will not pass soon. They decided to take a walk. The fresh air would help them relax. It was the perfect place to ask the girl the big question. The ring is prepared especially for Emily. With it, everyone will see from afar her importance in this world. For Tyler, the girl's consent to become his wife was an important event in his life. No matter what happens, no matter what she has to sacrifice, he will always be there. He will always be on her side. This speech touched Emily, but unfortunately she cannot accept this proposal. Divorce is definitely in their future. She quickly ended the conversation. There was no point in continuing something that would lead to nothing good. Deep down, Tyler was hurt by the girl's indifferent reaction. All her thoughts were occupied with escape, but it would not be so easy to escape from the Emperor. His knights would find her everywhere. Their walk wasn't over. The guy still had something to discuss. He was worried about the girl's attitude towards marriage. The guy didn't want to put pressure on her. It had to be a mutual decision. He had only one desire in life. He was ready to lay the whole world at her feet. She has completely forgotten that children should be born in marriage. She is definitely not ready for this. She is not going to bear him children. Tyler lost her once. He won't let it happen again. He won't let the girl go until she feels better. Maybe he can share his energy with her. Such tenderness leaves her stupefied, and she begins to hope for a bright future, which she doesn't have yet. There is no certainty that he will continue to love her after the appearance of the saint. The next morning, Emily was not allowed to lie in bed. An urgent matter arose. She has become an important person in this place, so some things depend only on her. Tyler has trained the best knights who will constantly protect the future empress. Among them, Brian stood out the most. The choice was obvious. Emily didn't think that luck would smile on her so quickly. She had the opportunity to get to know him better. She needed to be friends with her future comrade. The Emperor introduced everyone. She needs to choose in favor of 3 knights who will always be with her. Emily will be happy to look at everyone herself and make a choice. Tyler doesn't have to worry about that. She can study the knights thoroughly to choose the best ones. If suddenly she doesn't like someone, the guy will find more knights, just to make her happy. She immediately settled on Brian. They already knew each other, so she would feel calm around him. Emily had no idea that this decision would bring her a lot of problems. She didn't care about the other knights. The main thing was that Brian was here. Tyler regretted organizing this competition 1,000 times over. He should have done it himself. It is the greatest honor for him to serve Emily with him. Any danger is not scary. He was too happy with this choice, so his ardor had to be cooled. Tyler will be the one protecting the lady first and foremost, but in his absence, the knight's help will be needed. It's all strange. First the knights were called, then they were sent back to serve, and no one remained near her. Things didn't end there. There was a place prepared for Emily. It was a secret. Tyler prepared everything to surprise his lady love. Guards are posted throughout the palace, and it is impossible to hide from them. They didn't walk for long. Everything here was created to distract the girl from her internal problems. This uncertainty frightened Emily. Too many events were already awaiting her here. She can relax as long as nothing terrible happens to her here. Her status allowed her to be shown the way to the imperial treasury. The guy clearly saw how the girl liked everything here from now on. Every item belonged to her. There were so many treasures in this room that it was hard to find. She had never seen such rare gems before. She even forgot about all her problems. It was unexpected to see so much happiness in the girl's eyes. This was her secret passion. She forgot how she herself showed the guy her jewelry. She was involved in collecting them, and this activity captivated her for a long time. It seems that she is holding in her hands the future compensation after the divorce. Tyler himself was happy at the sight of a happy girl. It was moments like these that he had worked for so many years. From here she can take everything that particularly catches her eye. There were a lot of decorations here, so Emily could put together a complete set for herself. She can come here whenever she wants. The doors will always be open for her. As a sign of gratitude, she hugged the guy tightly, but that wasn't enough for him. Tyler revealed to her the most precious thing in this place, for which he deserves something more than hugs. The guy allowed himself to be a little brazen and kiss her. It was their first such intimate moment as a couple. Emily didn't want to take such steps too quickly. It was still too early for that. She couldn't break free from his grip. Tyler waited for a response from her. The girl should kiss him, but she had no such desire. He had kissed her in the past, but there was never a response. Tyler didn't hide his expectation that the girl had no way out of this situation. She had to overcome herself. The knowledge of the saint haunts her. The guy will not love her forever. Because of this, she cannot open up to him. The guy has already put off a lot of things until after the wedding, and he won't let her rest there. It's better for a girl to be prepared for anything. Tyler has been patient for too long. Emily can't keep putting off their interactions. She needs to wait until the divorce. Next week, delegations from other countries will arrive. Everyone will be preparing for their wedding. She is well acquainted with the time frames for preparing for such events, so the date was calculated quickly. Tyler did everything he could to make sure the wedding happened as soon as possible, but he forgot to tell Emily about it. Everything was ready for the girl even before the new emperor took the throne. The guy always knew what the future held for him, so he prepared every step in advance. Here they have done everything they could, and now they will meet the maids. Since Emily can't avoid problems, she should accept them and deal with them with all the courage she has shown. She will arrange a divorce in 2 weeks. The rest of the day they spent choosing dresses for her for such an important event. She had to look impeccable. All this selection of dresses exhausted her more than any training. As it turned out, choosing dresses wasn't the worst part. She had a lot of information to learn. But it had to be done. It would be easier for her to escape in the future. She also had to remember that she was getting closer to Brian. She had so many things to do at once. Besides everything else, the Chancellor decided to contact her, which was just what she needed. From the note, she learned about the breakup of the Count's engagement. When talking to him, she would have to choose her expressions. Thanks to this note, she learned that it was possible not to get married, and that everything could be dissolved before the wedding. This story was a useful lesson for her. Her mood instantly rose. Her new plan collapsed at that very moment, because she would not be able to cause a conflict, and because of this, she would be killed in the future. At the same time, Tyler had his own affairs, only political ones. Emily couldn't wait long. She urgently needed to discuss several details. They needed to be alone because the topic was personal, and the girl still found it difficult to open up about herself. This was her first attempt to get rid of the title. No one would like an uneducated girl in the role of Empress. Nobody likes stupid girls, so Emily will become an actress for a while. Tyler already works independently, so nothing will change in his life. Then everyone will start criticizing her. The Empress is obliged to participate in public affairs. It was a failure. Next to him, she can be herself. Emily won't be broken that easily. She will get her way, so it's time for the second plan. Perhaps her penchant for luxury will help push the guy away. A talentless girl who is only interested in jewelry should not occupy such a position. Tyler didn't sense any trickery. He believed in the girl's need for this treasure. She remembered the most expensive piece of jewelry that exists. It is not available to everyone. As it turned out, her choice was nothing supernatural. Her plan failed again. The guy had already bought it, so Emily's dream had already come true. She didn't even notice it among all the decorations. She would have to pretend to be unearthly joy so that no one would suspect her of lying. Tyler was only too happy to help her. He was a real gentleman towards her. She tries so hard to avoid this contact, but fate deliberately brings her together with the guy. For some reason, such a simple action awakened strange feelings in Emily. He simply fastened the necklace, but there was much more behind the gesture. The decoration really suited the girl. It looked its best on her. Tyler was always looking for the right moment to kiss, and he definitely wouldn't miss this one. But for Emily, this was too much closeness. It was still too early for them to commit such offenses. The girl has 2 weeks when they won't touch her. It would seem that she can relax, but this is not so. Tyler is being careful. He doesn't want to scare the girl away, but after the wedding, he definitely won't tolerate it. She urgently needs to leave this place, a little more, and the main task of not falling in love will fail. Spending time together, the girl decided to talk to him seriously, without embellishment. No matter what the girl said, Tyler always saw her as the perfect empress, and she would not shake off this status. Walking through the garden, looking at the flowers, they tried to sort out their own feelings. This was the girl's third attempt to escape. No one likes flighty girls. It would be better if she didn't talk about her feelings for another guy. Tyler's face changed. He began to look like his future self. The guy assumed this would happen. He might not be the only one in the girl's field of vision. She had to improvise. Only one name came to mind. Tyler has an excellent memory, so he easily remembered who first asked the girl to dance. She told him absolutely everything that happened to her during their communication, and every detail was recorded in his head. It was a good opportunity to break off the engagement. With feelings for someone else, she can't be near Tyler. Even with such a set, she was denied this. The wedding will take place in any case. A guy can get the moon from the sky for a girl, but when it comes to marriage, his hands are tied. That was the end of their conversation, and she still hadn't managed to get her way. Emily needs to stay away from the guy. The feelings inside need to be calmed down. There should be a saint in her place. The girl is not destined to take the place of her beloved. The next morning did not start out in the most pleasant way. Emily was expecting a meeting with a guy. As expected, Tyler has been busy with the affairs of the country all this time, but for the sake of the girl, he can put them aside. She felt a strange atmosphere in her gut, and deep down she was afraid to be alone with him. The last conversation kept coming back to Tyler, so he checked all the information. He caught Emily in a lie, so the lover version didn't work. Now she was really in trouble.